Hey, today we're going to be talking about used gear, where to buy good used gear, and how it can save you some money. Let's go. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Rusty Brown Photography. I am Rusty. So glad you guys are here. Today we're going to be talking about used gear, something that I haven't spent a lot of time on. I just recently bought a new lens, so before we get into the used gear conversation, let's do a quick unboxing, all right? Here we go. As you can see, yes, I bought a Sony Zeiss 50mm prime f1.4 lens. Bought it from B&H, and I'm going to give you a little bit of the history as to why I bought this lens and why I bought it used. I've never had a 50mm before, and I've kind of been on the fence about it for about 11 years, whether or not to have one. Whenever I needed to do a shot that would be at that focal length, I tended to always use my 24-70. So recently I heard a rumor, and it was just a rumor, that Zeiss was no longer making glass for photographers. And when we went to go do that fact checking, we did find out that the rumor was false. However, it is true for Sony A-mount shooters like me. So I think we talked about this before. Sony doesn't make A-mount glass anymore. So that got me to thinking about whether or not I really needed a 50, and if so, would this be the time to go get one? So I started doing the search. So first I went to Amazon, and if we take a look here, you'll see that it was $1,500 for a new one. Couldn't get one at Sony, so a brand new Zeiss 50mm 1.4, $1,500, and as you can see, there were only 3 left. Well, I didn't really want to pay that much for a lens, so I said let's look used to see what we could find there. I started off with KEH. If you haven't heard of them, I haven't bought from them before, but from my understanding, they're very reputable. So I went to look at KEH, and as you can see here, they had a couple of prices. The one for $679, they only had one left. That one had a KEH rating, if you will, of EX+. And if you take a look here, EX+ in KEH speak means it's 90 to 96% of its original whatever. So, you know, it's almost 100% like new, 90 to 96%. And then they have the lower rating, as you can see, just regular EX. Next, I went to Adorama, and as you can see with Adorama, the exact same price for the exact same lens, but I couldn't find the rating anywhere on Adorama. I'm sure they have one, but I couldn't find it on the landing page, so I moved on. Lastly, I went to B&H and found a used 50mm Zeiss 1.4 for $720, actually $719. And when you look at their rating, it was a 9. And a 9 in B&H speak means minor surface mark. So to be clear, what B&H does, their ratings are cosmetic only. There's a statement on the B&H website that tells you they won't even resell a piece of glass if the glass isn't worthy. So in my case, it said minor surface marks. I can't find it. It's just that good. And you may ask, okay, why did you pay $719 at B&H as opposed to $679 at KEH? And it's really just that I have the history with them. You may remember some time ago, not too long ago, I bought this used 24-70 also from B&H, same 9 rating. So I had some prior experience with buying from them used and knowing what the quality is. And you got to remember, right, these ratings I think are 100% subjective to the company that is selling them. Take a look at this lens. As you look at these pictures here, I mean, the build quality is amazing. The glass is heavy and consistent. Quick note, I stumbled into the Zeiss family back in 2007 when I first bought a Sony CyberShot something or another. I saw the little blue badge on the side, you know, that said Zeiss, and wasn't really sure what it meant, but it was very good glass, and it was coming on those CyberShots in 2007. So as I got into DSLR or SLT photography in 2012, I stuck with Zeiss. Every lens that I have is a Zeiss lens, with the exception of the G Master 70-200 2.8, because it did not come in a Zeiss version, right? So that's my history. That tells you a little bit about why I went with B&H, why I bought used. Let's talk a little bit about why buying used is good for you. I think the number one reason to buy used is the cost savings, right? As you saw with the 50, it's more than 50% off of what's new, at least in my case. So from 1,500 down to 720, that's significant for something that was very lightly used, if you will. I think the other reason is that the high-end used quality, if I'm saying that correctly, the high-end used quality rivals net new glass, you know, because you don't know the history of it. And these folks like KEH and Adorama and B&H, this is what they do. So when they give something a rating that is that high, it's just like new. It really is. And so it's a combination of the cost savings and getting something that's high quality that you know is going to last you for a long time. Let's talk about where to buy used, right? So I talked about three places, right? I talked about KEH, Adorama, and B&H. But there's a great article, if we take a look here. This article was written a couple months ago by Paul Skidmore, and I think he does a really good job of breaking down all the different places to get used equipment and what the pros and cons are of both of them. I don't necessarily agree with his ranking. You know, for example, I don't think I would buy used from Amazon or eBay simply because I can't verify the seller, and that's important to me because I want to get a good warranty, like you will with B&H, Adorama, KEH, etc. So I'm going to put a link to Paul's article in the show notes. I would recommend that you take a look at that. Some really good stuff in there, and it may help you in your journey regarding whether or not to buy used, and if so, where would you buy your used from? Listen, to me, the 85mm f1.4 is the best prime because there's almost no place that I can't use it regarding me getting, you know, close enough to a subject. I think this is the best because I can use it in most places. I've got some super good images with this particular prime. Having said that, though, my favorite prime is the big 135mm f1.8, also Zeiss. It's not the best because there's too many places that you can't use it, too many places I can't use it because of how much distance I have to have just to be from the subject to do a portrait. But I really think that this is my favorite. I just don't get to use it as much. So what I'm going to be doing with the new 50 is trying to get in the studio and seeing what the sweet spot is for that, as opposed to using the 24-70 as much as I have, and see if I can now incorporate some good portraiture with this 50mm. In summary, if I were starting out today, just all net new, I would buy everything mirrorless, number one, and I would probably buy everything used, right? I'm talking about the bodies, the lenses, all of it, because there's such good used gear out there, and because you're starting off new, you can save a ton of money, especially if you're buying good used gear. There's a difference between buying crap or cheap stuff, and Zeiss lenses aren't crap, nor are they cheap. So if you want to invest in a good camera ecosystem that's on the higher end, you too can buy used and save a lot of money going forward. The fact that I'm not just starting out now, though, I am looking to use more and more and more. As I add more things to the kit, my first look now is going to be used. In all probability, B&H, because again, they have so much of my money so far. And I don't think that they're any different in how they would treat you or me than a KEH or an Adorama or some of the folks that are listed in Paul Skidmore's article. So there you have it. Just want to talk a little bit about used gear as I start rolling a little bit more used gear into my kit. Are you doing the same? Let me know. And you know, if you haven't bought used yet, think about it. You might just be surprised by the cost and the quality of just how good used gear can be. I hope you guys found this information helpful. If you haven't done so already, I would ask that you like and subscribe to the channel because it helps me to continue to bring good content to the channel like this. That's all I have for today. Hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.